Yeah.
Welcome back to the Stretch the Floor podcast. I'm Matthew here, as always, with Venushan to talk some more playoff basketball. We have two game sevens today. The first one up is probably one of maybe the most interesting series that we've seen so far in the second round. The Celtics and the Bucks, game seven there, and then the Suns and Mavericks in a game seven as well. So really exciting day of basketball ahead. So I guess first off, let's talk about what we expect, what we are surprised about that we've seen so far in the series, and what we think is going to happen in game seven. So in Boston today, we got Bucks and Celtics. What do you expect is going to happen here?
I've been saying Celtics in 7. I know Giannis is really good, but I think the lack of Chris Middleton and that fourth quarter shooting and that fourth quarter playmaking and that fourth quarter like go-to guy is going to come down to cost them. Cost them kind of in game 6 when Giannis missed those couple of free throws. Giannis was playing absolutely amazing and they still lost. Jason Tatum was able to match him and play at a level which was equivalent to a Giannis level, playing great defense and scoring 40 plus. So I think that lack of a shooter and that lack of that fourth quarter go-to guy will eventually cost them. And after that game 5 comeback where I was like, oh man, this is over in game 6. I thought it was going to be over, but the Celtics pulled through. They fought. And I think game 7 at their home court, I'm going to go with the Celtics winning this series.
Yeah, I think I have to lean Celtics too. I mean, like, you never know what's going to happen in game 7. Do we know if Robert Williams is playing? Because he was out for game 6. I think he was questionable last I heard for game 7. I don't know if he's playing. But even if he is playing, I don't know how much of a factor he'll be. Anyway, yeah, I just think Giannis is going to need, especially in game 7, like, you need some guys to just make some shots in the fourth quarter. And Chris Middleton, is that guy. And
Yeah,
he's not playing. Now, if Giannis is amazing from the free throw line, maybe they can pull this out, because sometimes that's what these games just come down to, right? But yeah, I mean, I'm going to lean Celtics, but I will not be surprised if the Bucks take this at all.
Yeah, we seen Giannis do it to close out the finals. He had that amazing free throw shooting game, and we know he could do it. We know we've seen him go away and beat the Nets in game 7 in Brooklyn last year. So we know this Bucks team has that pedigree, and we know they have that ability to do it. But if you're looking at the whole series, you gotta lean to the team that is at home, the team that has majority of their healthy players. Yes, I think Robert Williams is day to day, so we still don't know if he's playing or not. Or has majority of the healthy players, and we gotta lean towards a team that has guys that can shoot the free throw at a better clip, because we know fourth quarters they're low scoring, so those free throws are going to be massive, right? Because if we have like a 95 to like a 90 game, like, and if Giannis misses, like, he shoots 10 for 15 from the free throw line, like, that could be the decider, you know what I mean? So yeah, you just got to lean towards the guys that can hit the free throws and that could more healthy. As simple as that.
Yeah, totally. Although this series has been so close that if this were in Milwaukee, I might be probably leaning Bucks.
Yeah.
I just have that feeling. But I mean, a lot of the times game 7s come down to who has the best player. So, and Giannis is obviously by far the best player in this series.
By far, I don't know about by far.
He is the best player in this series. But yeah, I don't know. And he's talked about, not in terms of his NBA peers right now, and we talk about him, comparing him to all-time greats. So this is one of those opportunities for him to really his legacy is already solidified for his age, but if he could just take his legacy to the next level if he wins this game 7 without Chris Middleton, away from home, the year after winning the championship. But we shall see. That's going to be a great game.
And on the other hand, it's the time for Tatum to make his statement, right?
Yeah.
He's beat Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, swept them in the first round. Obviously, it's a team game, but he's the one that's going to get a lot of credit. Then he primary guards Giannis at instances. I know Grant Williams has been the main defender, but Tatum has had time to set him. He goes and beats Giannis, and then he goes and he's going to verse Jimmy Butler. He goes and wins that series, and then in the finals, you either verse Chris Paul, Luka, or Steph Curry. So if Tatum is able to win this championship, he's going to take down a lot of great players to do so. So this would be a good legacy booster for him too, and we'll push him into that upper echelon of like face of the league. And he's been playing that way, and it's going to be interesting to see. Whoever wins this series is going to get a big boost to their current standings and legacy standings, all that stuff. And Tatum, that last game when it was do or die, like he stepped up.
Mm-hmm.
He had one of the best games. Like this is going to be talked about, that game where there was two guys just going out 40 plus, great defense, all like the whole game. It's pretty amazing to watch. And this is going to be another amazing game to watch. And we're both looking forward to it.
Yeah, this playoffs, this series, but also this whole playoffs in general really has the chance to kind of catapult him into like the very, very stratosphere of the stars, the very, very like the Mount Rushmore of current NBA players. Like it really, really has that opportunity. But they got to win this game first. Okay, so we have another game 7 coming up today. Probably we picked before the series
Suns in 7.
You did pick Suns in 7, right? I think I picked Suns in 6. So I mean, you could be 2 for 2 with these predictions. But I guess so. What my first question would be: why has the series gone 7? And number 2, who do you think is going to win? The Suns take it at home?
Yeah, I think the Suns will take it at home. But to see why the series went 7 is because Luka Doncic, like this guy was able to make Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and like playoff Kawhi Leonard is one of the best defenders of all time. And they made him look like average defenders. So I know Mikal Bridges is really good. What he did to Kawhi and PG, like I know this guy is going to force a game 7 because to beat him, it's going to be in 7 because he's just that good. And he is one of the best offensive players that I ever watched. Like he's just an unstoppable force. And then I saw Brunson this year, who's just stepping it up, being that second guy who we thought Porzingis was going to be, where he could be like, take the pressure off him, play when Luke was on the bench, and be that guy. Brunson stepped up and was doing that. And we've seen the shooters also perform at a decent rate too. Maxi Kleber, we've seen that huge Dorian Finney-Smith game where people are like, wow, they got this guy for only $13 million a year. Like that's a steal. Like he's going to be an amazing player. Reggie Bullock has been playing great defense. They did really good. But at the end of the day, how I said it last time, they don't have a stop for DeAndre Ayton. Look at him to get going early in the game. They don't have great wing defenders. Like they might put Dorian Finney-Smith on Devin Booker, but then they don't have another really good defender to put on Chris Paul. So look at Chris Paul being more aggressive from the get-go. And we could see the Suns team, just because of pure talent and pure offensive and defensive bodies, just out-talent, like just have way more options to win this game. So I'm going to lean to a team that has more options to win this game. Whereas for Dallas to win this game, Luka needs 30, Brunson needs 20, Spencer Dinwiddie needs like 10 to 12, Dorian Finney-Smith needs a 15-point game or more, Reggie Bullock needs to hit like 3 to 4 3. Right? We know exactly what needs to happen because that's the only way they win. Is if the shooters shoot well, Luka and Brunson play amazing. That's the only way they win these series and win this game. So I'm just going to lean with the team that more options. You can have a DeAndre Ayton huge game, you can have a Booker huge game, you can have a CP3 huge game, or you can have a shooters huge game and Crowder, Bridges, Shamet off the bench. And so I'm a lean with the team that has more options and is playing at home.
Exactly. That's why I'm also going to lean Suns. But there is a formula for the Mavericks to win this game. You just laid it out, and it's just that it's less likely for that to happen because they just have so fewer options than the Suns. But I think that's what makes the fact that this is a 7-game series so much more impressive to me, because like Luka Doncic is doing this with so much less help than guys on the Suns or the Celtics or other teams have, and the Mavericks aren't winning the championship this year. So I feel like this game 7 might be like Luka's. It's like this is his championship. Like
championship moment.
He's going to be treating this as like he's never won a playoff series before. It's like he gets so close he can taste it, and I feel like he might just have like a 45, 50-point game, and have this be like the high point of his early career. So I wouldn't rule that out. And if it were at home again, I would say maybe I might even lean. I would probably still lean Suns, but yeah, I don't know. It's going to be another really exciting game.
I'm happy Luka finally won his first series. I'm happy that narrative is over, like Luka, because now he's in round 2, game 7. So
exactly.
people have to give him credit. Like the way he plays basketball is
So
effective.
yeah, I said he never won a series. I mean, he's never been to
up to this year. Yeah.
Until this year.
Yeah. And if he pushes into the Western Conference Finals, then people are gonna know like this guy's legit. And we have to just admit it. Like as you go deeper and deeper into playoffs, more and more casual fans will tune in, and it's time for him to, he is well known casually, but this is a time for him to take another step and really cement himself as the face of the league alongside Giannis, because like him and Giannis right now are like battling for the future face of the league. Both of them are in the Western Conference and Eastern Conference Finals. That'll be great to watch, especially for the NBA. They'll be very happy, especially with LeBron teetering off a little bit his team. So that would be amazing to watch. But we think the old man Chris Paul is going to get it done and rematch the Golden State Warriors in the final, Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, agreed. The individual performances we've seen from Giannis and Luka have been wild,
amazing.
But let's move on to talking about the next round. We know Miami's in there. We know the Warriors are in there, like you mentioned. But we obviously don't know who they'll be playing. So let's talk about. Let's start in the East. So if Miami does play Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals, predictions. How is this going to play out? Obviously, Miami's health status is still kind of up in the air with Kyle Lowry, but that hasn't seemed to affected them.
Yeah,
too much.
I just like Miami. I just like how this team plays with the amount of bodies they have, the amount of talent they have. And in my opinion, Jimmy Butler has been the best player in the playoffs, the way he's been able to go offensively and just carry this team. So I have Miami pulling it out in 7. I just think Bam's going to have a very interesting series because he's going to be sought out to go more, especially with Al Horford. Like he's going to be able to use that speed and he's be able to help a little more because Al Horford's obviously not the scorer that Joel Embiid is, so he's going to be a help, and that defense is going to just get even better. Jimmy Butler, he is going to go against a much better defender in Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but he's just been playing so amazing that I think he can have 4 amazing games still and play at a high level. And I think they'll have enough spacing to help those two facilitate and that they could get enough points and get enough scoring, because I still like the shooters, and Tyler Hill is still pretty, like, he's not playing great, but we know he's a good shooter. We know Max Strus is going to have a game here or there. If Duncan Robinson gets minutes, he'll have a good game. We don't know if he'll get minutes though. Kyle Lowry's hamstring is, I don't know. I don't think he should play because I think Gabe Vincent has been playing pretty good at the starting point guard. So unless Kyle Lowry's 100%, I think they should I think it's better off playing without Kyle Lowry. Like an injured Kyle Lowry is not better than Gabe Vincent. So I think they should just go with that. I just think the shooting mixed with Jimmy Butler's amazing performance this year, mixed with Bam playing at a defensive year level and a pretty solid offensive level production too. It just seems like a finals team, and I think they'll be able to pull it out at 7 against Boston.
Yeah, I agree. The series has 7 written all over it. But game 7 would be at home for Miami as well.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Butler, it's crazy how much offensive load he's taken on. He does this. This is reminiscent of the 2020 bubble run where he just put the team on his back, and we see those shots of him just collapsing at the sideline, when he's just dead tired. He averaged 21 in the regular season this year. He's averaging 28.7 in the playoffs so far. 81% from the line, 36 from 3, which is incredible for him. And over 52% from the field, which is just incredible. How clutch he's been, and the consistent one with the Bam stuff being a little up and down. And
Tyler Hero being up and down.
Tyler Hero and Kyle Lowry being in and out. Duncan Robinson not playing. Jimmy Butler, you're right. He has been the best player in the playoffs.
Yeah,
it's incredible. And Lowry or not, Robinson or not, whatever. I do think that he'd pull that out in 7, but very, very tightly contested series it will be. 2 teams that can play really good defense, 2 teams that have a couple really, really good scores, and 2 teams that have a lot of good size and switchability and all that stuff. So that'll be really exciting. But yeah, Heat in 7, I think.
Yeah, and now if we switch to the Bucks, if the Bucks win this series, I still have Heat in 7. And I think the key change, what people won't talk about, is the loss of PJ Tucker from last year's Bucks team, who's now playing on the Miami Heat. I think that's just one less body that you could throw on a Jimmy Butler, throw on a Bam, and help reduce the thing. And that's just going to be evident because I think Jimmy Butler's gonna have a great offensive series with Giannis gonna be playing that 4/5 where he's playing guarding either PJ Tucker or Bam. So I think Jimmy Butler's gonna have a better series to go against them compared to last year because he's gonna have like Grayson Allen or Pat Connaughton on him, and I think he's gonna go off there. But obviously Giannis is so good that I have to make it 7. Like anytime I'm betting against Giannis, it has to be 7 because I just can't see. I could just see him taking like 3 games. Like that's how good he is. So I think with the lack of Chris Middleton, even if he plays, he's not going to be anywhere near 100%. So I have to give it to Heat in 7 just because they just have all this length, the shooting, the best player in the playoffs. It's just a formula to make the final, and I think they will get there if it's the Bucks or the Celtics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, if Middleton or without a Middleton, with the loss of PJ Tucker, all that, I don't see Giannis ever losing. I don't see him ever winning less than 2 games in a playoff series ever.
Yeah,
like that's just how good he is. And realistically, any series with him, and it is, if you're betting against him, like you said, it should be going 7. Now, if Middleton's like back at 100% and playing like his all-star self, I'm probably going Bucks in this series. But if he's not back by now, he's not going to be 100% in this series. So that's just off the table. Even if he is playing, he's going to be on one. He's going to be a shell of himself, most likely. Because if he could even go 60%, he'd probably be playing today. In Game 7, and he's not. So, Heat in 7. I think got to give respect to Giannis, but ultimately just the number of guys they have, the size, and all the guys off the bench they have, and then Jimmy Butler's like superstardom in the playoffs is crazy. So you got to go with that.
Yeah. Jimmy Butler kind of reminds me of like Kawhi, where he just takes this huge step in playoffs. And I guess that's just what like two-way players as they age, they just can't do it fully throughout the playoffs. I mean, throughout the regular season, but when playoffs comes, those two-way players show that why they're amazing superstars because they do it on both ends of the court, and you just see them going all out. Him and Kawhi, man, these are these playoff jumps which are crazy and always fun to see.
Yeah, we even see LeBron do that, right? Like in the regular season, he's not the defender he is in the playoffs.
Never played fancy.
Yeah. Okay, so the Western Conference now. We know the Warriors are in there. So if they do play the Phoenix Suns, is this another 7-game series? Or
I have Warriors in 6. I just think Chris Paul is not the guy. He just can't beat for the Golden State Warriors, and he just can't beat Steph Curry. And I just think that's going to keep up. And I really do think they're going to give DeAndre Ayton a tough time. We see Kevin Looney come in, grab like 18 boards last game. And I think like with Draymond and small ball, Kevin Looney being able to play some big minutes, I think they can really remove DeAndre Ayton from this game. I think Klay Thompson has been playing better and better, and he just needed that Game 6 Klay. He needed that revival. I think his defense is going to be decent on Devin Booker. Obviously, he's not this Klay he was before where he can stop like Devin Booker, but I think he'll be pretty decent. And they have Andrew Wiggins to throw on him as well. And I think Steph Curry, like, even though he does get mixed up a couple times here and there, he is a good team defender. And with the Golden State's team defense, I think they can't slow Chris Paul down. I'm going Golden State in 6 if it's the Suns that match up with them.
Yeah, I think I have to go Warriors in 7. I just, you're right about the Ayton thing. He's not going to be able to be nearly as dominant as he can be against Dallas, against the Warriors. But I don't know, man. I do think Warriors, but we've seen Jordan Poole have bad games. He had a really bad game a couple of games ago against Memphis. We've seen a little bit of inconsistencies from them. So I think that the Suns having home court advantage, correct? Yeah, the Suns would have home court advantage. Chris Paul, Steph Curry does seem to be the guy that he can't get by, but he does get tantalizingly close every time. So I think he will get close again this time. But ultimately, I do think Warriors. Klay Thompson's been, like you said, he's still a good defender, but he's more of like a wing guy. But he can still be, he could still slow down Devin Booker.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, Ayton is going to be less of a factor, and the Warriors are pretty well rested, or at least compared to the Suns coming into this. So I have them. It's like slightly edging them just by in a 7-game series.
Yeah, Chris Paul's like, we got to be real. Like compared to last playoffs, this is a pretty big decline from Chris Paul.
Yeah, it didn't look so early on, but like in as time has gone on, yeah,
it looks pretty bad. So without Chris Paul, if he doesn't step up today, like we're expecting,
Yeah.
like that could be something scary to
Yeah.
think about. But they're also the 1 seed with 60 wins. Maybe
Yeah.
it's just tough guarding Luka. We know how hard it is, but it's gonna be tough guarding Steph Curry too. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting to see. And that's the series and conference finals that a lot of people predicted going into it, including me and you.
Mhm.
So if that happens, I think our predictions from earlier stage drew. If Steph Curry was healthy because he was coming off that wrist injury, which we didn't know, we always predicted the Warriors to make the finals.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, this might just come down to how good Chris Paul is, really, because I
Yeah.
mean, round one he had that 14 for 14 game, and I was like, wow, Chris Paul is
Yeah.
really taking this into his own hands, and he's not letting this opportunity slip by. He's back, right? And then it hasn't been so much the case, turning the ball over a little bit in round two. But who knows? Maybe, like you said, maybe just playing Luka, playing Dallas is just tough, and but playing Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole and Draymond Green is not any easier than that. So we'll see. So if it is not Phoenix and it is Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks against Golden State in the next round, do you have this going 6, or do you have it going less, or going more, or how do you see this?
I have it going less. I have Warriors at 5, just because I think they can match up so well when they do that, like Maxi Kleber at the 5 lineup. I think that just sounds perfect to move Draymond to 5, Andrew Wiggins, Poole, Klay, Curry. You know what I mean? It just seems this team, like the Mavericks depth lineup just matches up perfectly for the Warriors, and I think that will be tough. And I think we'll see a lot of like Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green on Luka Doncic, and I think the way they play and the way they kind of let you score, like they let John Morant go off, do whatever he wants, and shut everyone down, is the right way to play against the Mavericks. And I think that will be so tough for Luka to overcome because he's going to be scoring 50 and losing, right? So it's just going to be too much to overcome. They're just going to guard everyone else really well. And I think it just works out in favor for the Warriors. Like that's how they like playing. So it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be in 5.
Yeah, I got our Warriors in 5 too. Luka's going to have an incredible series, an incredible individual series. But like you said, the strategy might be just let him do his thing, stay home on all the other shooters, especially, if they play that small lineup that plays right into Draymond Green and the Warriors' hands in general, right? And I mean, I guess the question would be, like you said, maybe you try to tire Steph Curry out by going at him maybe with Brunson a little bit. I don't know, but that might get them 1 game, that might get them 2 games, but realistically, I think we got Warriors in 5. I'm forgetting the standing for some reason. But who the Warriors would be at home in the series?
Warriors would be at home in the series.
Warriors would be at home. Okay. Yeah. So I got Warriors in 5. But if Luka does end up getting to the conference finals, I think that's a big win. Obviously, he'd be devastated to lose, but that would be the high point of his career to this point. So
for sure.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of like improvement that they can make. And they know Brunson has to be on this team next season. Exactly. So it just helps streamline their off season. So I hope it happens.
Exactly. Okay, so let's get into the teams that have been eliminated since we last talked. We just talked about the Warriors, so let's talk about the team that they kicked out, the Memphis Grizzlies. Really, 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 really impressive season. Way, way, way more success in the regular season than any of us expected going in. Walking up that 2 seed, John Morant taking a borderline MVP leap this season. Do you think I don't want to say major changes. Do you think, what changes, if any, do you think need to be made to this team in the offseason? So they have
2 very important free agents, and that's Tyus Jones and Kyle Anderson. Sadly, I think Kyle Anderson will be leaving this team. I just think someone will offer him a contract which doesn't make sense for the Grizzlies to match and keep him back on this team. Because the last game he played 10 minutes off the bench, scored like 0 points. And the game before that he played, let me check right now. The game before that he played a similar 19 minutes, and he had a great game at 9, 6, and 7. So I think people will see that, and a team will offer him like 14 to 15 million. I just don't think it's worth matching or keeping him. But Tyus Jones is someone they have to keep because he was playing at a borderline 6 man of the year level. And if it wasn't for Tyler, who was essentially a starter, he'll definitely be in contention for that award. So I think he's someone you have to keep. Kyle Anderson, someone you let go. And they have a pretty solid amount of picks this year. I think they have 3 in the first round for this draft, which is incredible. So they can make trades around the edges to, improve the team and see what's happening. One person I would trade from the team because I think they actually play better without him. I don't think it's controversial. I think it's Dylan Brooks. I know they like him. I know their locker room loves him. Everyone likes him and everything like that. But I really do think they play better without him. So Dylan Brooks and you package, they have their first round pick for 2022. They have Utah's first round pick for 2022. And then they have a 2022 first round pick via the Lakers. So I think they package all those and get a trade happening and really do something.
That was going to be my next question. Yeah. So you got John Morant, you got Desmond Bane, who awesome year from him, right? You got Jaren Jackson Jr. That's your core. But my question is, do you think they have that second guy that you seem to need on a team to go, deep in the playoffs? Like you got Jaws as your one, obviously. Do you think Desmond Bane or Jaren Jackson is good enough to be that number 2, or do you think they need to maybe look for a trade elsewhere? I mean, Dylan Brooks, looking at his contract now, only makes 11 and a half mil next year, so that's not enough to land a guy of that caliber. But what do you think?
Well, one thing they can do is they could put Steven Adams 17.9 1 year remaining, put Dylan Brooks 11.4 1 year remaining, throw all those picks, put a future pick, and you can land a potential like superstar, right? Like, because essentially, like let's say Donovan Mitchell's available for trade. I don't think he will be. I don't think he's going to get traded, but a lot of people want him to get traded, so I don't think he is though. But let's say you get Steven Adams contract off the book next year, you get Dylan Brooks contract off the book next year, and you get like 3 first round picks this draft and 3 future first round picks. That's a good ass way to start a rebuild, right? You get like 6 picks, you get no contract, long-term contracts, and you get all this cap flexibility. So they can land a superstar. It's also, and everyone's young, so there's internal development that's going to happen no matter what. So do you even do those trades, right? So it's a big time to think about everything because this is a huge thing. You don't want them to be like, Danny Ainge, where he had all those picks. He had Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but they didn't do anything because it's always like, we're so young. I think if someone's available, like a Donovan Mitchell, you go out and get that.
I agree. I mean, I'm looking through right now at the potential options they would have, and I'm like, okay, Julius Randle, I don't know about that.
No.
Like, Donovan Mitchell, realistically, is he going to be on the trade block? No. Karl-Anthony Towns is off the table. He's been our guy every year for teams that are looking for a guy. He's not happening anymore. That is basically,
I think, Zach LaVine. If you could convince him to sign and trade for Zach LaVine, I would like that. But yeah, Zach LaVine, Donovan Mitchell, and then if you can't get those 2 guys, I would like to go get someone like a Miles Turner. Just a little upgrade on Steven Adams, someone more shooting, someone who can block shots. Just imagine him and Jaren Jackson protecting the paint, amazing defense, both could stretch the floor and provide that spacing needed for Ja. It's just, you have really good bench guys because you're going to want to, Brandon Clark's going to be up for an extension. He only has 1 year remaining and it's $4.3 million this year. He's going to get a decent extension and you need to keep him. Zaire Williams proved that he needs to get minutes at the small forward. It's just, they have so much options, right?
Yeah.
They have all this good talent. That's why, like, you're gonna just lose them in free agency if you just keep them, right? Because you can't re-sign all these guys. Your team's too deep and too good. So make these trades, get your 7-8 guys, and really make a push for that superstar.
Yeah, this is from a Memphis fan perspective. If I were the Memphis front office, I'd be going after Pascal Siakam. I would call up Masai and be like, "What? I'll give you Dylan Brooks. I'll give you Steven Adams, and
a bunch of picks.
You take whatever you want, whatever picks you want, and give me Pascal Siakam." How do you feel about that?
I think that would be pretty amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
Pascal, Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane, Zaire Williams, John Morant, and then off the bench you have Tyus Jones, DeAndre Melton, Brandon Clark, and Xavier Tillman.
Yeah.
And you don't lose that much. You don't need that much picks to get Pascal Siakam, right? I think that would be amazing. And from the Raptors' point of view, you already have a power forward in Scotty Barnes, and you really need some a center, and maybe they did say it was a rebuilding year, so picks still work. But as
I'd like that better than Rudy Gobert as a Raptors fan, I think, for sure.
It would be amazing, but I would be shocked if Pascal Siakam gets traded after.
No, I don't think it's happening.
Year.
But that's out of all those options. I mean, Donovan Mitchell would probably be ideal, but I don't know. Pascal Siakam would be a pretty good fit on that team too. Yeah.
Yeah, and Pascal's won a championship as a second scoring option, so we know he could do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, let's end this off by talking about the other team, the final team that was eliminated in 6 games ultimately. The Philadelphia 76ers, and recent news has come out very, very soon after their elimination that Doc Rivers is going to be brought back guaranteed next year, which is just mind-boggling to me. And also Dan Green tore his ACL, which sucks. So what options do they have now that, you know, the coach was going to be the main thing that I wanted to talk about when we talked about their offseason, who you're going to bring in. But that's not on the table anymore.
And this sucks because it's the complete opposite of the Grizzlies, where we're just listing so much options. You could go this route, you go that route, you get this, you get that, you get this star, you get that star, right? And you have good packages for all this. I have no idea how Daryl Morey's gonna make a trade because he has 36 million Tobias Harris, who has 2 years remaining. He has Danny Green, 10 million, 1 year remaining. And he has one pick, the 2023 pick, which we know they're going to be great for it. And people will talk about James Harden contract, blah, blah, blah. He talked about wanting to help the 76ers and doing anything necessary. He's not taking a pay cut for the 76ers. He's signing the max. If any 76ers fans think he's taking a pay cut or doing anything different, or if he might not re-sign with the team and, you know, you're going to let him walk and bring in Zach LaVine, like none of that's happening. Realistically, he's signing a max. It's just, is it a 4-year max, 3-year max, 5-year max? That's the question. Or is he just opting in, right? But he's going to be on this team next year at a max level salary. Joel Embiid's going to be on this team next year at a max level salary. Tyrese Maxey's going to be on this team next year. Very good salary, very low. And then you're going to have to trade Tobias Harris, that pick, and you're probably going to have to add Matisse Thybulle for more enticing. And you're going to be losing those guys to bring in more shooters and more defenders. It's just, we don't know which team is willing to trade for Tobias Harris's 35 million, and we don't know which team loves Matisse Thybulle so much that they think it's worth doing that trade. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm not going to bet against Daryl Morey. He said he was going to get James Harden for Ben Simmons, and everyone in the NBA said no, that's not happening.
Yeah,
it happened. So I'm not going to bet against him. He said he's going to go get shooters and defenders for that Tobias Harris contract, or like that's what it's been heavily implied. He's going to make it happen. We're going to see the trade and going to be like, wow, he did it. And right now we can't even think of how he's going to do it, but he's going to get it done because he's one of the best GMs.
Yeah. Never kind of know. I mean, looking at that Harris contract, it's, you know, if he had 1 more year, maybe even 2 more years, it would be a little more digestible, I think, to offer to teams. But that contract goes until the end of the 2023-2024 season. Tobias Harris, that's hard to trade. Now he's not a bad player. Like this isn't Kevin Love when he had 4 years left at whatever that was. Yeah. He's not a bad player, but yeah, I agree. Shooters and defenders around Harden and Embiid would be much more valuable. If you get 2 guys, maybe even 3 guys, around those 2, would be much more valuable than Harris. Morey will exhaust all resources, and hey, if they even have to start the season with Harris, and then like they did this year, he was like, I'm gonna get James Harden, and then it happened very, very late into the season. Yeah.
So one team that I'll throw out right now, because this is the one team that's like been involved, is the Houston Rockets and the Indiana Pacers. So the Indiana Pacers want to get rid of this long-term money for a 1-year contract. That's why they're linked with Wall and Westbrook. So a way they could do it is you send the shooters and defenders to the 76ers, which is like Buddy Hield, maybe Brogdon, TJ McConnell, like those guys. You send John Wall to the Pacers. He's just not going to play. He's just going to sit on the bench. And then you send Tobias Harris and the pick to Houston Rockets. So that's one possible outcome I could see. It's just how much validity that Indiana Pacers rumor has, which we don't know if it's true or not, because at this time, all the rumors, like Shams doesn't talk about it, Woj doesn't talk about it, so we don't know if those are right or wrong rumors, right? Like the only people talking about it is Brian Windhorst, and Brian Windhorst has got two things right. He's got the James Harden trade, right, which no one believed. Then he's got every LeBron free agent signing, right? So he hasn't got anything else right though. So his credibility is up and down.
Yeah. Well, I'd love that those moves, Buddy Hield and Brogdon and stuff.
Brogdon, amazing.
But realistically, how possible is that? I don't know. We shall see. I guess that does it for our offseason talk. We have a couple of game sevens to get to today, so I think that covers it for our talk this week. Thank you everyone for tuning in this week. You can check us out on all of our social medias platforms, Instagram at Stretch the Floor Podcast, YouTube SCF Clips. Subscribe, leave a review, rating, and subscribe to the podcast feed, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get them. Thank you again, and we will see you next week.